This is Wailing Caverns as a fire mage. I apparently had just turned in a quest as I was warping to this dungeon. It happens a lot. Alright, so yeah, we've seen Wailing Caverns before, quite a while ago. I wanted to show what it looks like when I actually know where to look for the Serpentbloom. I don't know, it just bothers me that most of the time when I come through here I don't get the Serpentbloom, and this time I managed to actually pick enough for to satisfy the quest giver. Alright, so yeah, abilities. Largely the same as last time. I peeked ahead at when I would get Dragon's Breath, and it won't be for a while. It's a very important ability, part of my core toolkit, but I don't get it for several more levels, unfortunately. It's fine, I have other things I can do. Lots of fireballs, some pyroblasts, etc. Okay, so that's, Paladin, I guess? So Paladin tank, what's the healer? I probably rolled over their portraits at the beginning, but I wasn't watching. I've tried to make a habit of doing that now, just so I know who I'm playing with. Male armor, that's a shaman, okay. So Paladin tank, shaman healer, is that a windwalker or a rogue? And a hunter. Always seems to be a hunter. Lots of hunters lately. That's a windwalker. Okay, cool. So we got a monk and a hunter. Right, so we know the route through this dungeon. Turn left, fight Lady Anacondra. Go down the thing, fight... Oh, what is it, like... Oh hey, Druid's Slumber. I can do something about that now. Oh, I might have already. Right, so I have Counterspell. That's the new thing. Yeah, Counterspell, number 6. So right, that's a hard interrupt with that much cooldown. You just saw it recharge. So any cast bar... like that, Druid's Slumber. I'm able to just interrupt that and prevent her from casting that spell, or anything from that school of magic, whatever counts as that, for quite a while. But I can only do it once every so often, so I couldn't prevent the Druid's Slumber from the Druid of the Fang. Stuff like sleep spells you really want to interrupt. Little things like, say, a Shadow Bolt or something usually are a lot less important, but it depends. So yeah, the thing I really like best about Counterspell is the amount of control it gives me over positioning of a particular enemy. Like I can kind of collaborate with the tank to get an uncooperative caster who doesn't want to come to where the rest of the group is to force it to come because they can't just stand there and cast. They'll have nothing to do because I've interrupted them. Alright, so I remember the first Serpentbloom was there. I let the tank go for it. Like if I see somebody else running in that direction, they can have it and I'll get a later one. We don't need to be competing too fiercely over resources. I know there's enough in this cave, and I'll keep my eyes open all the time for little tiny glows along the side. So I was pre-pyroblasting there, starting to charge up the spell before combat had begun. If you time it perfectly, then the pyroblast should go off exactly as the tank first pulls the threats. Doesn't always work out that way. Sometimes I have to cancel and start casting again if I've misread what the other party members are doing. Most of the time, attacks start right around the time I start casting the spell. So sometimes I'll pre-fireball instead if I think that shorter cast time makes more sense. Sometimes! Gotta be careful about this. Once or twice now, I think just once so far, I have tried to start a pyroblast cast without realizing I was on a hot streak. So then I just blast out the pyroblast immediately and start the encounter as the first threat that the boss registers. Not really what I want to do. Kind of embarrassing when it happens, but it does happen. It has happened. So I try to be a little more careful about that now. Make sure there's no big glowy aura around my character before I hit that 3 button. It was fine when it happened. Nobody had any problem with it. But I was the one to start the encounter, which generally is not what you want to do as a damage dealer. Always wait for the tank. They initiate everything. A good tank will usually be ready to pick up the slack if an accident like that happens, but, you know, that is an accident. Don't do it on purpose. Things like that. Mage doesn't do too well in situations like that, where, like, something's gonna die real quick. I always have this wind-up time, that's the word I wanted. Other W word. Before I can really start dealing damage. It is interesting to have to manage a cast bar. Like, it's one of the primary things I'm always thinking about when I'm playing this character. Especially since, unless I'm casting Scorch like I was there, I have to be standing still in order to actually cast stuff. It has a unique feel to it. So yeah, frustrating in some situations, but real good in most of them. Oh yeah, right. This dungeon has runners. So when Druid's health gets low, they'll go run away and try to find some friends. If you just leave them alone for long enough, they'll either find friends and bring them back to you, or decide to stop running and come back and keep attacking with their last little sliver of health. But it's more convenient just to make sure they die before they get out of your sight. Mage is not actually the greatest at finishing things like that off unless I have a hot streak. Like, if I can do an instant pyroblast, I can just sort of zap something that's running away. But if I have to wait for a fireball cast bar, usually if other people in the party are paying attention to the same thing, they will have killed it by then, and then that cast is wasted because cast bar goes back to 0. I have to restart with my next target. And this is why I switch targets so much when my current target's health is getting low. Oh man, I got slept. I couldn't have done anything about that because my counterspell was on cooldown. Alright, so last guy on this detour. What's his name? Lord Cobran, right. Still never remember which Lord Snake name is which Lord Snake name. There's a bunch of them in here.
You will never wake the dreamer.
Oh, I guess I didn't mention it. So somebody set a skull icon on over the tank's head. I see people doing this sometimes. It's not, they don't usually choose the skull icon, but putting a marker on top of somebody who has an important role in the dungeon, just so you can always see exactly where they are. So follow the person with the skull. Never any confusion of where to go. I don't usually set those markers myself, but when they're there, I usually do appreciate them. Maybe I should set them. I don't know. I know how to, so I usually try to keep the tank targeted, and I have my minimap set to show the location of my target, so I can always just look in the upper right to see where the person I want to follow currently is. So yeah, if I'm casting on the move, just a bunch of scorches. So, I realize what's happening here. I don't really say anything about it, I just kind of go along with it. So, I see that he's running back to the beginning. I assume it's because he thinks we can start the Muyo gauntlet now, but no, we have to go to the other side first. Or maybe he was just turning in quests. So I figure, you know what? The leader of the party's going over here. I'll take the chance to turn in this quest too, just because.
Greetings, traveler. May the eternal...
Yep, trying to talk to Muyo, but it's not time yet. He stops and looks at him, and I kind of get confirmation of what I was thinking. Some frustration. I was probably the only one who saw this because the say out loud command has a limited range. Oh, the shaman was back there too. But I always appreciate moments like these where, if somebody makes, a slight routing mistake or does something in the wrong order, people are usually pretty nice about it. This hunter doesn't have the greatest things to say, but could be worse. People usually don't seem to mind that kind of stuff too much. I think this is a large part of the reason that a lot of people don't really seem to want to play the tank role, just because, as the leader of the group, things like this really tend to stand out and are a lot more noticeable than if you do it as any other role. So yeah, you just have to be extra prepared if you're going to be the leader. Since everybody's so quiet, you never really know what the group's expectations are until something goes wrong, though. That was a nice hot streak. 3 in a row. Wow. How did that work? Hold on. Why did those pyroblasts chain that particular way? Shouldn't that have taken me back to heating up instead of... Well, now I'm confused, because now when I get... Okay, so 2 critical strikes in a row... First one gives me heating up, second one gives me the hot streak. So I get an instant pyroblast. If that were to get a critical strike, well, as soon as I launch the pyroblast, the hot streak is gone. I'm back down to 0 heat. Right? Then if that pyroblast were to critical strike, then I'd be heating up, not on a hot streak. What just happened there? I launched like 3 pyroblasts in a row. Does something change as I level up? Because I didn't see my fire blast come out. That didn't go on cooldown during that whole thing. Okay, I'm gonna have to watch that back because something I don't understand happened there. Or was I was pyroblasting, right? Okay, huh. Well, I'll know in a bit. Because yeah, that's not how I'm used to that working. I must have seen something wrong. So my blink is still blink right now. At some point I'm going to take a talent, I guess probably at level 30. I think that's where the talent row is. Which changes... let's see, I also don't have fire starter at this point, so... right, I did talk about that. Well, I'll talk about it more once I actually have it. So yeah, at level 30 I'm going to change my first row talent and also take a second row talent, which will change blink to shimmer, which gives it 2 charges. So I can blink twice in a row. And also can do it while casting, so I can reposition myself a little bit while I'm in the middle of a cast without stopping the cast. It's pretty nice. Serpentbloom, middle of the road. See, it's all over the place. You just have to look carefully for it, and you'll find plenty. I just needed one more. Both of this hunter's crocolisks have the same name. How does he have 2 pets? I don't know. I don't know how hunters work. There we go. Counterspell to force that thing to move. Unfortunately, it was not targeting the one that it should have been targeting. But he picked it up eventually. Druid Slumber, interrupt it. I could have, but I didn't. Doesn't look like anybody's currently asleep, so it must not have gone off. Druid Slumber. Okay, but I had just used my counterspell. Wasn't super used to doing interrupts that way. Man, that healing touch did, like, nothing. You could interrupt it, but, like, it barely moved his health bar at all. Okay, there we go. Yeah, dungeon tells you what to do next. And there's my last Serpentbloom. See, there's plenty around. There we go. Precast Pyroblast. That was good timing. I was more than halfway through casting it. That's what you want to happen. So at some point, when I level up, Fire Blast is going to get 2 charges. So after I cast it once, and it doesn't go on cooldown the same way. Like, I can cast it 2 times in immediate succession. Oh yeah, Bag of Tricks. That does a lot of damage. I do want to use it frequently. That gives me a lot more flexibility for manipulating my hot streak so that I can cause a free Pyroblast to happen quicker from that. I know to go down this hole now, so I jump straight down. Assume people will maybe follow. It is quicker to teleport out and back in to start the thing. I'm taking the long way. Or not? Yeah, I am. Okay. I was thinking about it. Someone else is teleported. I see where that arrow is on the minimap. I don't know, this way is more fun. You get to jump down a vertical shaft into some water. And the party leader hasn't found their way back to the beginning yet, so he's taking the same route. If you start this event without everybody in the right place, then Muyo would get into trouble, and people wouldn't be prepared to do stuff about it, probably. So it's a better idea to let everybody cluster up here before starting the event. Just digging through my inventory. All this stuff I've accumulated. Throw to a friendly player. If they have room in their inventory, they'll catch it. There's a leather ball you can make that people used to always play with way back in the day, and I always found that super annoying because you just fill people's inventory with stuff, you know, without them having done anything. Both of these Tauren have shields that look like exactly the same. Anyway, yeah, so I didn't want to actually throw that paper zeppelin. Right, yeah, here's where the first thing happens. So you have to be ready for that one. Another one over where Lady Anacondra was. Then one or two more along the way to Narlex's chamber. This is a cool dungeon. I end up playing it a lot, so I'm very familiar with everything that goes on here. But I never really get all that tired of it. It's a lot of fun to play. Hardcast Flamestrike, that's a choice. Probably not the right one. A situation like this is what would call for Dragon's Breath. But I don't have it at level 25. So Dragon's Breath is a frontal sort of melee range attack. It's a little longer than melee range. Has a cooldown on it, but does instant damage to everything in front of me. Which is something that's very missing from my toolkit right now. If I want to hurt anything quickly, and I don't currently have a hot streak and can't create one, then I'm kind of out of options. Mage needs time and distance to do their thing. Where has Muyo gotten himself lost? Shouldn't he be with us? There he is. He was way back there. That's right. Now he starts walking real slow. Okay, final gauntlet. Almost done here. Muyo escorted. Escorted. Getting some good use out of that bag of tricks. I'm never quite sure if the waves of enemies always come from the same places here. There might be set spawn points, or it might be somewhat random. So 2 from this side. I could have let that fireball go off. I didn't need to cancel it. Like in a situation like this, it's totally reasonable for somebody who's not the tank to initiate combat. Since you want to bring everything to the same place anyway. Just as long as you don't get too terribly ahead on threat before he gets a chance to hit them. Okay, it is just 2 waves before Mutanus. Okay, that's nice. Why did I move? I could have stood still and kept on casting. Alright, there we go. Wailing Caverns.
I am awake at last.
He's awake, at last. Level 26. Cool stuff. Oh yeah, Blazing Barrier. That's what that's called. Okay, right. Absorb some damage. Melee attackers take damage. It's actually pretty good. So I get a cool little fire shield. So I don't take damage, but people who attack me do. It's very nice. So I'll try and keep that up whenever I'm expecting to take damage from now on. Alright, that's Wailing Caverns. See you for the next one.